Good day. Welcome to Dylan's Daily Show. So we have got a bombshell story about Milo Yiannopoulos. His event was canceled at CPAC over apparently him defending pedophilia on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. We are going to listen to the clip, kind of dissect it for ourselves and everything like that. So we're going to get into that, and then we're going to talk about Democrats wanting to invoke the 25th Amendment to question Trump's mental health, and then how much it will cost for refugees to be resettled in the United States. We're going to get to all that today on the show, if we have time for all of it. But we're going to start off with the Milo Yiannopoulos clip because this is really interesting. So he was invited to speak at CPAC, and obviously it's going to draw big outrage. Whenever Milo Yiannopoulos is invited to speak somewhere, it's going to draw big outrage because he's Milo, right? He's Milo. He's a gay conservative, and there's a lot of conservatives that don't like that. There's a lot of liberals that don't like that because they want all the gays on their side. But we're going to get into this clip here. His event at CPAC was canceled because he was defending child molestation, pedophilia from the Catholic Church. So we're going to get into that right now. We're actually going to listen to the clip, dissect the actual clip, and talk about what's going on. And I'm going to kind of interject with some commentary. It's going to be pretty interesting all the same. So this is the clip, Milo Yiannopoulos on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast talking about pedophilia. Is he defending it or not? Let's listen.
People, Catholics, trying to hide that information.
We're great at PR.
The last thing they want. I went to Catholic school, man, for a whole year. Cured me.
Well,
Fixed me up good.
It's where you get your fine sense of right and wrong from. No, wait, let's not do that.
Well, with right and wrong as far as what is right and what is wrong. No, I got lucky. They beat me a little bit.
What do you mean you got lucky?
Me a
you
little
got
bit.
unlucky. You didn't get that taste of... no, I said, just like I said earlier, if it weren't for Father Michael, I would have given far less good head. I mean,
Okay, so that's the first kind of sketchy thing that goes on in this clip, right? Milo Yiannopoulos is saying, hey, you know, if it weren't for Father Michael, I would have given far less good head. And then he says, Joe Rogan says he was lucky that he wasn't molested by somebody at the Catholic school. And Milo says, what do you mean you got lucky? You didn't get that taste of, and then he kind of gets cut off there. But so as you can see, he's kind of being edgy about this right now in the sense that I see how it can be interpreted as him defending it. But we're going to move on with the clip because that is definitely not the extent of it. So let's move on with that right now.
Was a real dude? I should made you suck his dick for real.
Make me. I was quite enthusiastic about it. I fucked my English teacher too. But
how old was he at the time?
I don't know. He's quite young, quite hot.
Really?
Yeah.
And so he's saying that the young Father Michael, okay, had Milo Yiannopoulos suck his dick. Okay, that's essentially what he's saying here. When Milo was young, and they'll get into ages here in a minute. And we're going to get to that as the clip progresses. All right, so let's continue with this clipper. So I have to kind of pause and find the spots where they talk about it in the podcast. So let's continue with this right now. This is, again, going on Joe Rogan talking about child molestation.
Come on.
Enough
maybe as you get older
maybe
and
I
your
should be
sex
drive
dries up a little bit.
I always think I would have made a good priest. Do you think I'd make a good priest? I think I'd make a good priest.
Well, you make a good priest if you think the guy that made you suck his dick was a good priest. That kind of good priest.
He was a great priest. Honestly, like he was
he was good other than that?
I've never had a better singing tutor. He was great.
Singing teacher.
He got notes out of me I didn't even know I could produce.
Okay, so I'm hearing that is very inappropriate, right? I mean, that's not okay to be talking like that regarding this kind of thing, especially if you want to be speaking at events like CPAC and things like that. Now, obviously, it seems like it's kind of in a comedy form, but this is not something you joke about. Okay, this is definitely a topic that you do not make jokes about because this is something that actually happens to kids, and you know this is not good. So let's continue with the clip again, moving on with what he said.
Well, he worked your plumbing,
shattering the chandeliers, kind of.
But was he good outside of what he did? Like, was he a good religious scholar? Was he a good teacher?
I think he was just a parish priest. I mean,
just really some fucking creep getting his dick sucked. Then
he's gonna get lynched now.
How's he gonna get lynched? Do people know who he is?
I don't think so.
What's his name?
Well, I'm not saying anymore.
Well, how old were you at the time? You were a little kid, and he was like what?
You're trying to.
Was he in his 20s or 30s?
So now on the video, they're like, "Oh, look, he's not giving up his name." Of course, he's not giving up his name. You don't expect him to give up the dude's name right now. Like, he just like totally dropped a bombshell that he'd been molested consensually, which we'll get into that. But he's not giving the guy's name.
Yet another feminist strategy that you have adopted in addition to your language policing.
Trying to out pedophiles?
No, trying to go on this.
You were the one who was anti-pedophile earlier.
I told you it wasn't the pedophilia. I was after I lost my virginity. I was in my teens. I was in my teens.
14.
I was in my teens. Something like that.
Okay, 14 is definitely not the legal age of consent. Okay, I don't know what it is in Britain, but in the United States, that is not the legal age of consent. So the fact that he was in 14, he's saying it's not pedophilia. It doesn't matter, okay? And this is just the basic moral rule. I think all countries have adopted this, or most at least, most of the civilized ones. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you are doing it with somebody below the legal age of consent, that is considered pedophilia. It doesn't matter if that person wants it or not. That is considered pedophilia. So technically, he is talking about pedophilia in this context.
Yeah, 14 is pedophilia, buddy. I don't know how they rock it in merry old England.
I was in my teens.
Over here in my country, and
fucking
where you are right now,
You've never seen a 15-year-old girl at any point in your life, however old you were, you've never seen a 15-year-old girl you thought was hot?
Yeah, when I was 15.
No, when you were 25.
So he's kind of like defending the situation, saying, hey, look, you've probably seen a 15-year-old girl that you thought was hot. Like, he's trying to tie Joe Rogan into this. Now, we're going to stop playing the clip there because it's wildly inappropriate, but you get the gist of what was going on in this clip. Of course, this is wildly inappropriate. This isn't something that you should be discussing, and I understand why CPAC booted him from the speech, because this is something that's not good. Now, Milo released a statement on Facebook reading, quote, I do not support pedophilia, period. It is a vile and disgusting crime, perhaps the very worst. There are selectively edited videos doing the rounds as part of a coordinated effort to discredit me from establishment Republicans that suggest I am soft on the subject. He added that he has exposed 3 pedophiles in his reporting. He also wrote a lengthy attack against pedophiles and their alleged progressive defenders in 2015. Now, I'm going to say this right now. Milo Yiannopoulos is not a pedophile. He does not support pedophilia. Okay, I honestly believe that. I've looked for other signs of this. It does not appear from my research and other people's research that he supports pedophilia. Okay, but what is weird is that he comes out and seems to defend it on this clip, which he does seem to defend it. Regardless of if he supports it or not, he seems to defend it on this clip. So he needs to be careful about that. Now, he said, quote, I did say that there is a relationship between younger men and older men that can help a young gay man escape from a lack of support or understanding at home. That's perfectly true, and every gay man knows it. But I was not talking about anything illegal, and I was not referring to prepubescent boys. I should not have used the word boy when talking about those relationships between older men and younger gay men. Yeah, you shouldn't have used the word boy, Milo. Now, again, this is wrong. He used the wrong words. I don't blame CPAC for canceling his event because they want to save face, so that's completely fine. But he should not have said what he said. I think that's horrible. He's affirming the legal age of consent in the clip and everything like that. Now, he's not a pedophile. He shouldn't have said what he said. It was stupid. But this is typical Milo, where he says stupid things just to get reactions out of people. He kind of just says things. Because he's kind of been invincible from the media at this point. This will wash over. I don't think this is going to be a big impact on Milo's career. I think people are still going to like him regardless of what he said here, but he shouldn't have said it. He shouldn't have said it. He can't go that far. If it happened, it happened, but don't joke about it. I don't think that's right to joke about that situation. Now, we're going to skip over the clip of Democrats invoking the 25th Amendment about Trump's mental health, and we're going to move right on to how much the refugees are going to be costing us in the fiscal year 2017, because this story is massive. And it's according to a Breitbart study that came out that estimated that it will cost $4.1 billion in 2017 to support the 519,018 refugees who have been resettled in the United States since October 2009. Now, that's 8% of the, quote, total annual fiscal impact of first-generation immigrants and their dependents averaged across 2011 and 2013. The National Academics of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine in September 2016 estimates that the cost is $57.4 billion. Now, the number of refugees living in the United States, we're going to follow along with this. Follow along with me on here. The number of refugees living in the United States has increased more than 70%. So in 1995, it was 9% of the population, with 24.5 million refugees living in the United States. In 2014, 13% of the population, 42.3 million refugees living in the United States. Now, native-born population increased 20% during that time. The annual flow of lawful permanent residents has also been increasing. So this is just kind of the backstory leading up to where Breitbart is getting these numbers and everything like that. In the 1980s, just under 600,000 per year refugees were coming into the U.S. 1990s, just under 800,000 per year. Since 2001, just over 1 million refugees per year. Now, the number of unauthorized immigrants in the United States is in 1995 was 5.7 million, and in 2014 it was 11.1 million. Now, the Study for Immigration, the Center for Immigration Studies, I should say, did a study in 2015. That's what they do. Center for Immigration Study does study. They found that quote, in their first 5 years in the U.S., each refugee from the Middle East cost taxpayers $64,370. That study focused on cost estimates for refugees originating from 10 Middle Eastern countries, derived from the 2013 Annual Survey of Refugees contained in the Refugee Resettlement's Annual Report to Congress for fiscal year 2013. Breitbart used the data in the 2013 Refugee Report and used the same method that Center for Immigration Studies used to determine the cost of Middle Eastern refugees within that group. Over a 5-year period, taxpayers pay $59,251 per refugee. Holy crap, that number is insane. I mean, that's ridiculous that we're paying that much for refugees. The 2015 Center for Immigration study limited estimates to 5 years because the 2013 Annual Survey of Refugee data was limited to refugees who had been in the country for 5 years. So that's 2009 through 2013. Now, Breitbart also assumed that the cost would diminish to 50% of the annual average for years 1 through 5 in year 6, 25% in year 7, 10% in year 8, and then 0% for year 9 and beyond. Now, overall welfare usage will also decline the longer the refugee is in the country. For instance, for the 2014 annual survey, 95% of refugees here for a year or less are in the SNAP food stamps program. By contrast, after 5 years of residence, 60% of refugees are in the SNAP program, about 4 times the national average. So there's way more of them than the national average in the SNAP program, but it is declining the more they're in the United States. Leaving aside the inadequate rate at which refugees are leaving some welfare programs, in at least one significant welfare program, the rate goes up with each year in the country, and that is SSI, which is a cash welfare program for the disabled or elderly, and is used by about 14% of refugees in the first year of arrival. Slightly more than 29% of refugee families who have been here for 5 years have one or more members receiving SSI, a lifetime benefit in most cases. Each year of residence brought an increase in the rate of SSI usage. So, as you see, that's where they got their numbers. The numbers are very interesting. It goes over a bunch of different welfare programs, what percentage of refugees are on those programs, and it came out to the estimate that in fiscal year of 2017, it will cost us $4.1 billion to take care of the refugees. That is a shocking number. Shockingly large, shocking number. And that is if we stop the refugee program right now, right? This is if we halt the entire refugee program right now, it will still cost that much money. So to act like we should just be welcoming all these refugees because, oh, you know, they deserve to live in a happy place and all that, that is absolutely insane. These numbers are off the charts. We're spending so much money. We're $19 to $20 trillion in debt. We cannot afford to be paying for all of these refugees in the United States. It's just absolutely insane. But anyway, that is it for the show today, ladies and gentlemen. Leave your comments down below on the Milo Yiannopoulos situation because I do want to get your input on that. How do you feel about Milo Yiannopoulos talking about that on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast? Do you think this harms him? Do you think he was wrong? Do you think he was right? Let me know down below. That is it for the video. Make sure you like and share so you don't miss out on any more. I will catch up with you guys next time. Bye-bye.